Was good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, thank you, God, for another day and opportunity. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And let's go ahead and reach 50 likes on today's video. Now, as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm going to be bringing y'all the first best rare catfish stretch playmaker build with contact dunks on NBA 2K22 next gen. Now, this build is really going to remind me of a Tracy McGrady type of build, and we're also going to be able to get Hall of Fame shooting and finishing on this build with a total of 47 badges at the minimum. Now, this is going to be a build that I'm telling you, with Takeover, will give us contact dunks or with boost, and we're going to be able to speed boost on this build as well. Now, for the pie chart, pick the one split right down the middle, with the shooting as well as the finishing, the green and the blue. And when it comes down to the actual physical profile, you have two different options to pick from. Now, if you want to, you can pick the very first one for the maximum speed, or go with the fourth one for a huge boost put towards our vertical. For my liking, both of these are going to be solid, but if you want to go ahead and be the fastest stretch playmaker possible, pick the very first physical profile. Either of these is definitely going to be okay, and it really comes down to your own preference. Now, once we go ahead and get into the actual breakdown of the attributes of this build, all you need to do is follow along, and I promise you, everything is going to come through right with being able to get the contact dunks, speed boost, and getting the build name. So let's go ahead and get started with the finishing. For the close shot, I'm going to go with the 67. Driving layup, going to be a 74, and the driving dunk, you have to go ahead and max this out. And right there, we're going to be able to get 4 finishing badges, which is going to be perfect because we're going to be able to get Hall of Fame posterizer, and that is really the only badge that we're going to need for the finishing. Now, for the shooting, I'm going to go with a 71 three-pointer. As for the free throw, go with an 85, so max it out. Then for the post fade, I'm going to go with the 76, and then for the mid-range. Now, this is all optional. If you want to, I'm going to bring this up to where I get 17 shooting badges. That's going to be a 66 mid-range. But if you want to adjust the numbers, making it to where you can try to get extra badges in other areas or get better attributes and animations out of this build, you can definitely test the waters. But I'm telling you right now, you're definitely going to want to keep these numbers as is, because once we go ahead and adjust everything when it comes down to the playmaking and defense, this build is really going to come together perfectly. Now, I did say we're going to be able to get a total of 47 badges, but since we are in Season 8, consider adding on 8 extra badges put towards this build, and that's going to bring us up to a total of 55 badges for a stretch playmaker that can play like a two-way and also has the potential to get contact dunks with boost or takeover. Now, for the playmaking, we're going to get another 17 badges. Pretty much you can max out your pass accuracy, ball handle, and the post control. But for the defense, I'm going to max out my interior defense. Perimeter defense can only go to a 49. Lateral quickness, I'm going to go with the 60. Max out that block. Then for the offensive rebound, I'm going to go with the 67 and a 75 defensive. Now, right there, for the defensive end, we get a total of 9 badges, and with the extra 8, really consider where you would want to go ahead and throw them into this build. For my liking, I would at least go with a total of anywhere from 15 to 12 defensive badges, then throw the rest into my shooting or even the playmaking. Now, as of where we stand right now with this build, I truly believe this is one of the best all-around catfish builds that we're going to be able to make this year. So for the body shape, if you want to go along and base it off of your own preference, I would go with defined. But if you want to take up more space on defense, go with built or burly. Now, the height we're going to go with will be 6'7". That's going to bring us up above a 70 ball handle, which will be perfect with still being able to speed boost. And you're going to see what I mean by that when we go ahead and get into the takeovers. But when it comes down to the weight, you definitely want to go ahead and drop this to the lowest. You can bring it back up to 182. That way it does not affect anything of our speed or acceleration. Then when it comes down to what we're going to be working with on the wingspan, so you can always base this area off of your own preference, but I'm telling you, if you want to be able to maintain the same build name that I'm talking about right now, do not max it out. What we're going to go ahead and do is make sure that we're going to be able to get a few different takeovers. One will be the playmaking, slashing, and then the sharpshooting. So go with an 83.0 wingspan, and remember, for the physicals, we're going to be able to get a +8. So we're going to be able to get a 90 vertical when it's all said and done. Acceleration and the speed will both be in the mid to high 80s. And then once it comes down to the actual attributes of this build, whichever takeover you decide to go with, just consider the fact we're going to be able to get a +10 put towards either our shooting, finishing, and I'm just going to go ahead and let y'all know right now, we will be able to get post scoring takeover. So a lot of different ways to go about this build, especially when it comes down to buying boost as well. So alone, if you do decide to buy your own boost, that's going to give this build a +4 put towards the attributes. If you max it out, that's another +4, giving us a total of 8. And if you do run with teammates that have on floor general and defensive leader on Hall of Fame, that alone gives us a +12 without our takeover activated. Now, whichever takeover that you do decide to go with, just make sure that when you know it's activated, you're getting a +10. And for me, just to get contact dunks, I'm going to go with the slashing. Now, as y'all can see, we have created pretty much a two-way stretch playmaker build, and this is honestly the closest that is going to remind me of a T-Mac type build. So once we go ahead and look at what this build is going to be able to do completely maxed out, let's go ahead and get into the badges after that, just so y'all know that you are going into this game as well as this making of the build with the correct badge setup. So remember, we did pick the slashing, which means in takeover we'll be able to get a +22, which will give us a 99 driving dunk as well as a 99 driving layup. Now, if you did decide to go with the shooting takeover, you'll be able to get a 99 3-point shot when it's activated, free throw, as well as a 98 post fade. Now, when it comes down to the playmaking, if you did decide to go with that takeover, you'll be able to speed boost as well as break ankles. And then for the defensive end, alone, we're going to be getting a +12, so do not worry about that. You're pretty much going to have a 69 perimeter defense, and if you do decide to add badges put towards this area that are going to help out your defensive stats, I'm telling you, that is going to make all the difference in what this build is going to be able to do. So from this point on, let's go ahead and get into the badge setup. I'm going to start with the finishing, and just like I said earlier, I'm going to go with Hall of Fame posterizer. Now, if you feel like going with a different badge or spreading the wealth for the finishing, that is another way to go about it. Now, for the defensive end, I'm going to go with Gold Intimidator as well as Clamps or even Rim Protector. If you do decide to go with 3 gold badges, you can definitely spread the wealth. And remember, since we are in Season 8, that means we have all had the potential to get extra badges put towards this build. So if you do decide to throw it towards your defensive area, that's going to be a huge help for this build. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of what we're going to be looking like for the shooting and the playmaking. So to start out with the shooting, yes, we do get Hall of Fame for this category. I'm going to go with Hot Zone Hunter, and then from here, you cannot forget about another, probably the most important shooting badge, Sniper as well. But as for other badges that I would spread the wealth on this build, I would really consider Green Machine, Deadeye, Corner Specialist, and maybe even Catch and Shoot. Now, the main 2 badges that I would keep on is going to be Hot Zone Hunter and Sniper, but the rest of the way, I'm going to spread the wealth just a little bit. Start out with going Silver Deadeye, then from here, you can even go with Lucky number 7 if you want to test it out. I feel like Blinders is going to be another really good badge to keep on Hall of Fame. Then from here, I'm going to go with Bronze, Corner Specialist, then Silver, Green Machine. Now, as when it comes down to the playmaking, we're going to be able to get gold badges out of this area, and I'm telling you, you have to be very careful with which badges you do decide to put on. So for my liking, I'm going to go with Quick First Step on gold, same exact thing with Quick Chain, and then once we go ahead and get into Hyperdrive, I'm going to go with the max tier for this one as well. Now we have 8 more remaining badges, so if you feel like changing the setup of what I'm about to show y'all, go ahead and do so. For my liking, I'm going to go with Triple Threat Juke as well as Unpluckable. Then for the final 2, If you want to make one minor adjustment, I would go with Gold Bullet Passer. Then you can go ahead and drop down Unpluckable 1 tier, just so you're able to upgrade it to Gold. And this is pretty much the final setup of what I would go with. And we're going to end it off with a total of 47 badges. And if you made it to the end, man, thank you so much for your support. Welcome to the Rich family. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications, because I'm uploading every single day. And I want y'all to be a part of the Rich family as well. But let's go ahead and reach 50 likes on today's video. Comment down below as well, where did you tune in from today? And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Thank you, God, for this day and opportunity. God bless y'all, and Rich out.